Meghan was deeply shocked because she assumed that as a prince that he'd be a billionaire.
Their lifestyle requires a capital sum of $400 to $600 million.
They're already living a billionaire's lifestyle, and they are not anywhere close to earning billionaire money.
Where do they get the money from to sustain their billionaire's lifestyle, that massive mansion, the private jets?
He is hoping that she's going to become a billionaire as of all of this, which again is total insanity.
She discovered to her horror that all he was a low-lying millionaire.
Now that mansion is worth $20 million. That'll be divided down the middle, if Harry's lucky.
There is growing concern. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are now living well beyond their means.
Their security costs are estimated to be $3 million a year.
Today, Harry and Meghan torched what little was left of their relationship with the royal family and what little was left, frankly, of their own reputations.
The dysfunctional Duchess, she says she runs businesses. The woman couldn't run a bath.
As ever essentially means as it's always been.
She calls it as ever. You call it as never. I call it was never. Sorry.
Whispers are swirling behind palace doors and across the Atlantic, and they're painting a very different picture of Meghan and Harry's carefully curated world. For years, they've projected an image of billionaire luxury, private jets, sprawling mansions, and a life that seems to glide effortlessly from red carpets to sun-drenched retreats. But what if that image is nothing more than a shimmering facade?
That the picture you're painting actually suggests that these two could end up going broke, given the massive overheads connected with the lifestyle that they want to lead.
According to a newly leaked report, shared in hushed tones by insiders who claim to have seen the numbers, the couple's actual bank balance isn't just shy of billionaire territory. It's allegedly teetering on the edge of crisis. Sources close to the situation say Meghan, in particular, has spent years dreaming of joining the billionaire class. She's reportedly seen it as a personal mission, a crown of a different kind that would cement her status in the global elite. But these new rumors suggest that instead of amassing a fortune, she and Harry may be spending faster than they can ever earn. The result? A bank balance that insiders claim is far closer to a financial cliff than a royal treasure chest.
And some speculation that they are now actually eating into the inheritance left by both Princess Diana and the Queen Mother.
One royal commentator allegedly quipped, "They're living like billionaires, but the numbers just don't add up." And if you believe these whispers, the consequences could be devastating. Insiders claim that Meghan and Harry's lavish spending on everything from luxury wellness rituals to globe-trotting holidays has started to drain family legacies that once seemed untouchable. Some even suggest that Princess Diana's inheritance and the Queen Mother's rumored trust fund have become lifelines the couple can't afford to lose. Of course, none of this has been confirmed publicly, but in the world of royal rumors, money is always a loaded topic. And this latest leak is sending shockwaves through those who've watched Harry and Meghan's meteoric rise, and now wonder if it's all about to come crashing down. Because if the figures are even half true, the couple's golden fairy tale could be built on sand, not a fortune.
He doesn't have that amount of money. People seem to think that because he's the king's son, he's rolling in money. He never was.
For years, Meghan and Harry have leaned into the image of a power couple whose bank balance matched their celebrity status. But these alleged leaks hint that it might be more myth than reality. And as the pressure mounts and the money allegedly dwindles, one thing is certain. The image of Harry and Meghan as global billionaires is starting to crack. What happens when the illusion of wealth fades and the real numbers come to light? Stay with us, because the next chapter of this royal saga is about to get even more shocking. One of the biggest rumors fueling this financial whirlwind? Netflix. When Meghan and Harry first inked that lucrative deal, insiders say they pitched it as their golden ticket, a partnership that would bankroll not just documentaries, but allegedly everything from personal wellness ventures to brand new product lines. Meghan's lifestyle brand, known as Ever, was supposed to be a crown jewel of this empire, a shining example of how Hollywood royalty could redefine the royal brand. But insiders claim that reality was a lot murkier. According to sources close to the couple, Netflix's actual funding was far more limited than Meghan and Harry let on. Instead of showering them with blank checks, Netflix allegedly played it safe, only fronting a fraction of what Meghan expected to keep Ever afloat.
Like, get a job, Meghan.
I know.
you've set up the expectation to where we don't expect anything new from you until 2026. But for the love of God, do something beyond cutting up a pineapple into teeny.
The result? A line that insiders say was sold out in record time, but only because it was produced in such small quantities that it couldn't possibly fail to sell out. Lady Colin Campbell, who's made a career out of peeking behind palace curtains, says she's hearing whispers that Meghan and Harry had been counting on Netflix to bankroll far more than they received. They didn't have the money themselves to launch something like As Ever, she reportedly told a friend. They were hoping Netflix would play the role of silent investor, but Netflix didn't want to play sugar daddy to an untested product line. If you believe these sources, the gap between what Meghan expected and what Netflix delivered left the couple in a precarious position. One source even described it as a financial sinkhole, with Meghan allegedly convinced that selling out quickly meant instant billionaire status, when in fact, the tiny quantities Netflix funded were more of a PR stunt than a financial windfall. And while As Ever was rebranded as a sellout success, behind the scenes, staffers claim Meghan was already pivoting to other ideas, new products, new brand partnerships, anything to plug the gap left by Netflix's hesitance. She's thrashing around for backup, one former business associate allegedly said, because the money they need just isn't there. And that's the drama at the heart of this story.
There are reports that Meghan, who wears Diana's jewelry constantly, is fixated on her as well. I believe in Tom Bower's book, he says it's her objective to be Diana 2.0.
Absolutely.
The chasm between the billionaire image and the actual bank balance. Because if even a giant like Netflix wasn't willing to take a chance on Meghan's dream, what does that say about the money she and Harry are rumored to be spending? One thing's for sure, if these rumors are true, the couple's hopes of turning their Hollywood deals into a billion-dollar empire might be slipping further away than they ever imagined. And up next, the question of just how deep they're willing to dig to keep up the facade. Stay tuned. As the rumors swirl about Netflix money running dry, there's another source of cash insiders say Meghan and Harry have leaned on more heavily than they ever intended: inheritance. Specifically, whispers claim that the couple's opulent lifestyle has been quietly draining the very legacies that once shielded them from the financial storms of celebrity life. According to those close to the situation, even the money left by Princess Diana and the Queen Mother, the sort of funds meant to secure the future of the royal family's younger generations, might now be on the line. It's the sort of speculation that sends chills down the spines of those who care about the monarchy's image. One former palace aide reportedly summed it up like this: those funds were supposed to be a cushion, not a bottomless well. But if you believe these rumors, that cushion's been worn thin.
Their lifestyle requires a capital sum of $400 to $600 million.
Some sources suggest Harry and Meghan have been spending at a rate that eclipses even their Netflix earnings. Lavish travel, private chefs, sprawling mansions in Montecito and beyond, and all of it, allegedly, propped up by funds that were meant to protect, not entertain. Lady C, never one to mince words, says she's hearing the same whispers. Harry was never rolling in money, she told a source. He had an inheritance, yes, but not enough to live like a Silicon Valley billionaire. And with Meghan's expensive tastes and all these brand pivots, that money doesn't go as far as they think. If these allegations are true, the couple might be rapidly burning through the inheritance that gave them the freedom to forge their own path in the first place. Of course, no one knows for certain how much of Diana's or the Queen Mother's money is left. The royal accounts are famously opaque, and Harry has always had a degree of financial independence from the crown. But it's that very privacy that fuels the rumors. Insiders claim that as the couple's public brand soared, the private bank balance was another story, one that looked more like a sieve than a fortress, and the questions don't stop there. What does it say about the future of their brand if the foundation it's built on is cracking? Because if these inheritance rumors are even half true, it's not just about Meghan and Harry's personal spending. It's about the very legacy of the House of Windsor, how centuries of wealth can vanish in the glare of a Hollywood spotlight. But inheritance, of course, isn't the only alleged cash flow in crisis. Up next, the collapse of Meghan's much-hyped lifestyle brand, and how it might be the canary in the coal mine for a couple who seem to be living a billionaire fantasy on borrowed time. Stay with us. This next chapter is where the cracks start to show.
They're already living a billionaire's lifestyle, let's just be honest about it, and they are not anywhere close to earning billionaire money.
If there's one rumor that's been making waves in recent months, it's the spectacular implosion of Meghan's much-hyped lifestyle brand, known in the headlines as as ever, but in the hushed corners of palace gossip, more cynically dubbed as never. Insiders claim Meghan had pinned her billionaire ambitions on this line, convinced it would be the final push she needed to join the ranks of celebrity moguls. But if the whispers are true, the brand's rapid disappearance from shelves was less about strategic planning and more about cold, hard financial reality. One former business associate allegedly described the launch as a case of hype over substance. Meghan believed the name alone would sell, they said, but the figures just weren't there. The quantities were tiny, the margins were even smaller, and in the end it wasn't a brand launch, it was a brand collapse. Rumor has it that Netflix's lukewarm funding left Meghan scrambling, with production so limited that the supposed sellout was more a result of minuscule inventory than massive demand. For a while, the brand's PR machine worked overtime to spin this as a triumph. Social media posts framed the line as exclusive, a sellout success story fit for a global duchess. But behind the scenes, insiders say Meghan was already pivoting, abandoning plans to restock and instead floating the idea of a fashion brand to fill the void. It was like she was trying to plug a sinking ship with glitter, one source said. The truth, according to those close to the drama, is that the line was never built to last. Some staffers allegedly watched in disbelief as Meghan's dreams of billionaire status clashed head-on with the grim math of luxury brand launches. It's not just about ideas, one business insider said. You need real money behind them, and Meghan didn't have it. This pivot away from as ever was reportedly as sudden as it was revealing.
Now, you'll be thrilled to know that Meghan, who is our favourite person, has shared a never-before-seen clip from her Netflix show.
Viewer discretion is advised. This clip contains weapons-grade hypocrisy.
She's explained this incredibly complex phenomenon of how to properly cut a pineapple. Let's have a look.
Trick that people do with pineapple, instead of just cutting it to make the perfect little bite, you follow the wedge. When nature has given you all the cues on how to have a perfect taste of something.
Oh, how fun is that? I love it. It's easy. Mm-hmm. All right, is it gonna work? Am I a good cook? It's great.
It just shows you just how ignorant and delusional Meghan Markle is, that it did end up on the cutting room floor, and she thought, like hell, I'm going to make sure that the world sees this.
Instead of a graceful exit, Meghan's move to distance herself from the brand has only fueled the speculation that all is not well in Montecito. It's not just a failed brand, one former aide whispered. It's a symbol, a sign that Meghan's entire plan to become a billionaire off her own name might be slipping through her fingers. And as these rumors swirl, they're leaving even staunch supporters wondering, if Meghan's brand dreams are crumbling, what does that mean for the couple's larger ambitions? Because next, we're diving into the pivot to fashion, and whether it's a bold new strategy or just another desperate gamble to keep the billionaire fantasy alive. Stay tuned. With Meghan's As Ever brand reportedly crumbling under the weight of unmet expectations, insiders say she's already shifted gears, this time to fashion. But while Meghan's PR team is spinning this as a bold new move, sources close to the couple whisper it's more of a desperate gamble to keep the billionaire fantasy alive. Because if the lifestyle brand couldn't bring in the big money, maybe a fashion line could, or so the rumor goes. One insider, who claims to have seen the early drafts of Meghan's fashion pivot, says it's less about creative passion and more about plugging a financial gap that's quickly becoming impossible to ignore. She's hoping that a fashion label will be her ticket to billionaire status, they said. But the figures don't lie. It's a cutthroat industry, and she's already fighting an uphill battle. Critics point to Meghan's history of expensive tastes and a style that's more about personal brand building than market demands. Fashion is a blood sport, one designer reportedly said. It's about more than a famous name. It's about innovation, authenticity, and deep pockets. Meghan's pivot feels like a Hail Mary play, not a well-thought-out strategy. And while Meghan's supporters might argue she has the star power to pull it off, others see a pattern of overreach that's starting to catch up with her.
She is now trying to come up with alternative backing because she and Harry don't have the class of money to fund an enterprise of this magnitude.
The specter of Victoria Beckham's fashion line, propped up for years by David Beckham's fortune, looms large in the whispers. One insider put it bluntly, if Victoria, with decades in the fashion world and a designer's eye, still needed her husband's millions to stay afloat, what chance does Meghan really have? Of course, none of this is confirmed. Meghan's team has kept the details of her fashion pivot tightly under wraps, leaving plenty of room for speculation. But what's clear is the stakes. This isn't just about clothes, it's about the couple's entire narrative of success, the story they've sold to the world about reinvention, independence, and the power of a famous name. And as the whispers grow louder, some wonder if this pivot to fashion is less about style and more about survival. Because if you believe the insiders, the financial pressure behind the scenes is only mounting. The billionaire dream Meghan's been chasing might be slipping further out of reach, one failed launch at a time, but this story is far from over. Next up, the gap between the image and the reality. How Meghan and Harry's carefully cultivated image of billionaire luxury is starting to look like smoke and mirrors. Stay tuned, because the cracks in the royal fairy tale are only getting wider. From the outside, Meghan and Harry's lives seem to glow with the light of endless luxury, stunning mansions, private jets, designer wardrobes that ooze effortless elegance. But behind the scenes, sources claim there's a gap so wide between the myth of their billionaire lifestyle and the reality of their bank balances that it's starting to swallow the entire fairy tale whole. Insiders who've watched this drama unfold allege that Meghan, in particular, has become laser-focused on billionaire status, not just as a symbol of success, but as a personal mission that defines her post-royal identity. She talks about it like it's her destiny, one source reportedly said. But the reality is there's no magic wand. She and Harry aren't even close to that level of wealth. Indeed, according to these whispers, the couple's real finances paint a far less glamorous picture. While they've managed a few big payouts, like Harry's lucrative advance for Spare, insiders claim that money goes fast when you're trying to maintain a billionaire lifestyle. They're living like they're Jeff Bezos, one former staffer allegedly joked. But their income streams aren't anywhere near that. It's not even close.
Harry is worth a maximum, with everything thrown in, of say $35 or $40 million.
This gap between image and reality is what has some observers so worried. Because in the world of celebrity, perception is everything. And Meghan and Harry's entire brand hinges on the idea that they've escaped the royal family's control and built something even more fabulous on their own. But if these numbers are true, that narrative is starting to look like a mirage. One particularly dramatic insider claimed, "It's like they're playing a role, like they're starring in a show called The Billionaire Fairy Tale, but the cameras are gone and the script is falling apart." Whether or not you believe every whispered detail, there's no denying the tension at the heart of this story. How much of Meghan and Harry's gilded lifestyle is real, and how much is just carefully curated PR? And with the financial pressure allegedly building, some insiders say Meghan and Harry might soon be forced to make choices that could expose the cracks for everyone to see. Will they downsize? Will they try to pull in new money from more desperate sources? Or will they just keep spinning the myth as long as they can, hoping no one notices the gaps? Because in this world of rumor and reputation, the line between luxury and illusion can vanish overnight. And next, we're diving into one of the most bizarre alleged stunts to emerge from this crisis. The curious case of the American Airlines note, and what it might reveal about the couple's frantic attempts to keep up appearances. Stay with us, because this next chapter is where the financial panic and the PR machine collide. As rumors of mounting financial pressure swirl around Meghan and Harry, another story is causing a stir. A story that, if you believe the speculation, could be a carefully crafted PR stunt designed to distract from the growing questions about their wealth. It all centers on a note allegedly written by Meghan herself on an American Airlines flight. A note so perfectly timed and suspiciously public that some insiders are calling it a last-ditch attempt to prop up their royal luxury image. According to the viral TikTok video that set tongues wagging, an air hostess shared that Meghan was not only a passenger on her flight, but also left a handwritten thank you note, brimming with gracious phrases and polished charm. To hear the stewardess tell it, Meghan was the picture of elegance. Sweet, poised, and impossibly regal. But as the video rocketed across social media, palace watchers and skeptics couldn't help but wonder, was this really a spontaneous act of kindness, or something far more calculated?
I believe who I just had on my flight, who I had a pleasure of serving, the Queen, the Princess, the Duchess of Sussex.
Doesn't understand how titles work.
Meghan Markle was on my flight, and she's so beautiful in person. She was so sweet. She wrote us a little handwritten note back. So we wrote her a note that said, "It's a pleasure of serving you. We love you real bad." And she wrote this note back that says, "Dear AA girlies, thank you for the love, hospitality, and handwritten note. You know me well. All love right back to you." And then I think it says, Forever, Meg. You know, I can barely read this cursive, but look at this handwriting is giving rich. It's giving expensive. It's giving princess. He also said she loved my nails, and the captain on my last flight said they were intense. So, sir, it doesn't matter what you think. The queen says she likes them.
One insider allegedly scoffed. No air hostess on a major airline would risk her job sharing a private interaction unless she knew she had permission. And where did this video pop up? Meghan's favorite outlet, people. It's too neat, too convenient. Especially when money rumors are heating up. Even royal commentator Lady Colin Campbell weighed in, suggesting the story felt suspiciously orchestrated, as if Meghan's team was desperate to balance out the negative headlines with a feel-good fairy tale. Of course, no one can prove it was staged. Maybe Meghan was just being gracious. But in the context of a couple fighting rumors of financial freefall, this carefully curated act of generosity has left many wondering if it's part of a bigger push to maintain the billion-dollar brand image, regardless of what's in the bank. They need to show the world they're still the picture of refined luxury, one source allegedly said. And this note, it's a perfect little scene that keeps the myth alive. But behind the polished note and the viral glow, the real question is this. If Meghan and Harry are truly as comfortable as they claim, why go to such lengths to control every narrative? Why lean so heavily on these perfectly framed moments when the numbers tell a different story? Because if the rumors are true, the handwritten notes and curated kindness might be the softest part of a much harder truth. A truth that even a princess can't spin forever. And as we turn to the next chapter, the stakes only get higher. Because the whispers say the last possible safety net for this gilded lifestyle isn't Meghan's star power. It's the royal family's deep pockets. But what happens when even that door slams shut? Stay with us, because the answer could be the most shocking twist of all. As the whispers about Meghan and Harry's financial troubles grow louder, so too does the speculation about the one person who could still save them, King Charles himself. Because in a world where billion-dollar dreams are crumbling and brand pivots are stalling, some insiders believe the couple's only real safety net is the royal family's ancient wealth.
This was at the point where Meghan and Harry said, we want to leave, we want to do half and half, we'll do some royal duties, but we'll go to America and make a load of money as well. And the Queen said, well, I don't think so.
But if the rumors are true, that safety net might be slipping away faster than anyone expected. According to Lady Colin Campbell and a chorus of other palace watchers, King Charles is reportedly done playing financier for his wayward son and daughter-in-law. Charles has made it clear, no more blank checks, one insider allegedly said. He's seen the spending, the luxury, the constant rebranding, and he's decided the monarchy can't keep propping it up forever. The tension, if you believe these whispers, is palpable. After all, Harry's inheritance from his mother, and the Queen Mother was never meant to support a billionaire's lifestyle. And with King Charles facing his own challenges, aging royals, a monarchy in transition, some sources claim he's become laser-focused on the crown's legacy. He won't let Meghan and Harry's spending habits become another royal scandal. One palace aide reportedly confided, and that's where the real drama begins. Because if the rumors are true, Meghan and Harry might soon be forced to confront a brutal reality that the royal money they'd hoped would always be there is about to vanish. No more generous allowances, no more quiet bailouts. Just the cold, hard truth of a lifestyle that outpaces their actual income. One former staffer put it bluntly, they've been living like they're in a billionaire fairy tale, but they're not. And Charles isn't going to bankroll the fantasy. Whether you believe these claims or not, the possibility is sending shockwaves through those who follow every royal move. Because for Meghan and Harry, the money question isn't just about luxury. It's about survival. Will they try to claw their way back into the royal fold, hat in hand, hoping for one last lifeline? Or will they double down on the brand building, clinging to the image of billionaire luxury even as the reality grows shakier by the day? The insiders can't say for sure, but they all agree on one thing. If King Charles really is cutting them off, Meghan and Harry are about to face a reckoning that no amount of PR can spin away. Next up, the final question that has everyone on edge. If the money truly runs dry, how far are Meghan and Harry willing to go to keep the show alive? Stay tuned, because the last chapter of this drama might just be the most explosive yet.
Breaking right now, as ever, might as well be renamed to as never.
If there's one word insiders keep using to describe Meghan and Harry's current situation, it's desperation. Because according to those who claim to have seen behind the scenes, the couple's relentless push to keep up their billionaire fairy tale, despite the whispers of a vanishing fortune, has started to take on a tone of frantic urgency. They're chasing money like it's the last train out of the station. one source reportedly said, and it's starting to show. The pivot to fashion, the endless rebranding, the carefully curated social media moments. Insiders allege these aren't just marketing moves. They're the last-ditch plays of a couple who know the numbers aren't adding up anymore. It's not about style, one former business associate claimed. It's about survival. They're fighting to keep the lifestyle they sold to the world. And as the money rumors mount, some insiders say Meghan and Harry might be willing to go further than ever before to keep the illusion alive. There are whispers of new deals in the works, new collaborations with celebrity partners who might be more about star power than genuine passion. Even the stories of Meghan's alleged snub by Taylor Swift and Dolly Parton add fuel to the fire, suggesting that the scramble for big names and brand partners has never been more intense. But in this battle to keep the brand alive, the stakes aren't just financial, they're personal. Because if you believe the rumors, the couple's identity, this image of glamorous independence, of reinvention on their own terms, has become tied so closely to the idea of luxury that they can't imagine life without it. They don't just want the money, one palace insider allegedly said. They need it to prove that they were right to leave the royal fold, that they could build something even bigger. Yet, in the shadows of these rumors, there's a chilling undercurrent.
So they are 10 times poorer than, and their income stream is, in terms of capital, is 10 times lower than it should be.
Some fear that as the money question grows sharper, the couple might resort to even more extreme measures to claw back their status, whatever it takes to keep the cameras rolling and the brand burning bright. And as the gap between the luxury they promise and the numbers they're allegedly fighting to hide grows wider, those measures might not just be bold, they might be reckless. What happens next is anyone's guess. Will Meghan and Harry find a new lifeline to keep the fantasy alive? Or will the illusion finally shatter for good? Because as one former aide put it, this isn't just about money anymore. It's about the story they've staked everything on. Stay with us, because the final chapter of this saga is where everything they've built could come crashing down, and where the truth might finally emerge from the shadows. And so we come to the final chapter of this swirling royal drama, a chapter that might just be the most revealing of all. Because if the whispers are even half true, Meghan and Harry stand at a crossroads unlike any they've faced before. On one side, the image they've built, a billionaire fairy tale of wellness, retreats, private jets, and personal brands that shimmer with celebrity glow. On the other, the cold reality of a bank balance that insiders claim can no longer keep up. It's a story that's more than just gossip. It's a mirror for how power and perception dance in the modern world. Because for Meghan and Harry, it's never been just about money. It's been about proving they could break free from the crown's shadow and build a kingdom of their own. But if these rumors are to be believed, the kingdom might be more fragile than they ever imagined. Insiders say the panic behind the scenes is real. The frantic search for new partners, the rumored phone calls to old allies, the hush-hush strategy meetings to keep the brand alive. Even the carefully orchestrated PR stunts like that American Airlines note feel like the last flicker of a candle in a drafty room, soft, sweet, but overshadowed by the fear of what happens when the flame finally dies. And in the end, that's the real question hanging over Meghan and Harry's story. Can they keep up the illusion, or will the weight of those rumors finally force them to step out of the fairy tale and into the truth? Because if King Charles really is done writing checks, and if even Netflix won't bankroll the dreams they're selling, the cracks in the facade might not just be rumors anymore. They might be the beginning of the end for the royal fairy tale, as we know it. But that's just what the insiders are saying. What do you think? Are Meghan and Harry living in a fantasy of billionaire dreams, or are the rumors just another chapter in the endless royal gossip machine? Drop your thoughts below. We want to hear how you see this unfolding drama. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next video on your screen is waiting. And trust me, you won't believe what's coming next.